At the beginning of the 2021 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears made a huge move up for Justin Fields. And I liked it. I really did. I know there were picks or there was rumors about how the Vikings wanted Justin Fields. Okay, whatever. I'm not here to discuss that. But what I am here to discuss and to do is grade the Chicago Bears 2021 NFL Draft class and picks. Overall, I thought this was a really good draft class for the Bears. Now I know they're under new management with Ryan Pace and company, but I'm excited. I think still there's some good things to take away specifically from this draft class, and Justin Fields is definitely one of them. I know a lot of people probably I've heard a lot of rumblings about Justin Fields from everybody, from fans to not fans, to, even people in the comment section. They're not sure. And I'm going to be 100% honest. I'm not either, but I think he has the potential to be a very good quarterback. I really do. Especially, and I made a video about Zach Wilson yesterday talking about, okay, how about we get this man some help, like all around? Because we have seen other NFL quarterbacks, like Jimmy Garoppolo, that have led their teams to. Let's keep this in mind: the 49ers have made a playoff, have made an NFC Championship game and a Super Bowl in the last 5 years. Try that out for size with Jimmy Garoppolo as their starting quarterback. That's my case in point. You don't need amazing quarterback play to be able to make it, but if we have to compare these two quarterbacks, I would take Justin Fields right now over Jimmy G. Straight up. I'm not even, I'm not even throwing any flask at it. That's the God's honest truth, because I think the upside for Justin Fields is way bigger than Jimmy G at this point. And plus, I think Justin Fields is going to be a really good quarterback down the line here. But let's get right into it. Grading the Chicago Bears 2021 NFL Draft picks. You got first pick right off the board, Justin Fields, like we talked about, quarterback, Ohio State. 12 games, 10 starts, 870 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Obviously, also added a couple of touchdowns on the ground. I think he had like over 400 yards rushing. Gave it a B+ here. I really like this pick. The only thing is, I think they gave up in a third and a fourth. It really wasn't even a lot. So honestly, I mean, there could be an argument for an A here, but overall, I just need to see more from Justin Fields before I make it an A. So, but overall, I like what I saw. Would like to see more help for him, please. That would be ideal, but it is what it is at this point. But like I said, I gave it a B+. Really excited to see what they do to help him out, what Ryan Pace and company do in the future to help out this man, because I think he's a very talented player. In the second round, the Chicago Bears selected Tevin Jenkins, tackle out of Oklahoma State. I loved this pick. Still do. Now, I also have to say that I know it was a little bit rough watching him kind of get owned by, and DJ Wonnum. And the thing about it is Tevin Jenkins is what you would consider not necessarily a hothead, but he's a guy that has obviously drawn a couple penalties for unnecessary roughness and all that, but I don't care. I love Tevin Jenkins. I think, that's what you want from an offensive lineman, though, is to be, to stick up for his quarterback and to be a little bit. Now, you don't want stupid penalties. I'll state that. But you do want passion. You do want guys that will stick up for his teammates. And I think Tevin Jenkins is definitely one of those guys. And I'm excited about Tevin Jenkins' future. I know this played in 6 games this year, had 2 starts, 160 snaps, 47.5 PFF grade. Not great, but I'm excited for Tevin Jenkins. I think he's going to be a good player and be that blindside protector for Justin Fields for a long time. In the 5th round, number 152 overall, the Chicago Bears selected Larry Borom, tackle out of Missouri. Listen, Larry Borom is actually pretty good. 10 games, 8 starts, a 61.4 PFF grade. This is a B+ for me. You thought, okay, they selected 2 tackles in this draft. You thought Tevin Jenkins would have this kind of an impact. No, Borom came in and when called upon, went above and beyond, especially as a 5th round pick. Getting this kind of value was great. B+, like I said, overall. Really liked the pick and again, maybe another guy you can make an argument for as an A here, but I think he could be a really good starting right tackle for the Bears moving forward. And hey, it's about putting those pieces together. It's definitely about putting them together and seeing where they all fit, and Borom is definitely one of those pieces. And the 6th round, number 217 overall, the Chicago Bears selected Khalil Herbert, running back out of Virginia Tech, who also played for Kansas for 4 years. I loved this pick as well. 17 games, 2 starts, over 500 scrimmage yards, and a couple of touchdowns. The NFL is coming to the realization that you don't need to draft a running back in the first round anymore. I think they have for the last couple of years, but I grew up in the era of Adrian Peterson, drafting a running back in the top 10 and having them, be a big focal point of your offense. But I think those days are pretty much long gone. I think I think we could see a trend as to where running backs aren't even selected in the first round anymore, legit, because unless they can replace 7 different positions, unless they, you know, have some quarterback experience. Like, I don't even know about that. Like, the players that are now, or the running backs now that are selected in the first round, I mean, they're overused, and plus running backs, they've got a shelf life these days. Like, that's just known. I mean, you can get Khalil Herbert. There's so many, Elijah Mitchell for the 49ers, and, you know, there's just so many examples of running backs that were drafted after the first round that can still be really good players. Like, running backs are pretty universal. Like, they all run a 4.4 for the most part. They all got, you know, can put a foot in the ground and get some yards after the catch. But it's like, you know, Khalil Herbert was a great find for them, especially in the 6th round. Gave it an A. Obviously going to be a big part of their offense. But again, the NFL is finding out that, the rest of the NFL is finding out that you don't need to draft running backs in the first round anymore. And I think it's a good thing. It makes them focus on more things on their entire team rather than just one position. And I think, you know, it also helps those running backs that maybe just didn't get much of a chance. A guy like Kene Nwangu for the Vikings that got drafted this year, I think he was, 5th, 6th round pick or something like that. You know, didn't get much of a chance, but when he did this year, he was a game changer. Had a couple of kickoffs, returns for touchdowns, but overall, that's just the name of the game. Getting these running backs in the later rounds, you know, they may not make more in the long run, but hey, that second contract they will, you know, going into free agency or re-signing with the team, absolutely. So in the 6th round, number 221 overall, the Chicago Bears selected Dazz Newsome, wide receiver out of North Carolina. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can a player that only played 3 games and started one, only had under 100 all-purpose yards, get a B grade? I've said I've loved the vast majority of these picks, but Dazz Newsome was a man at North Carolina with Sam Howell. Like, he was explosive, provided a little bit of punt return help for the Bears this year, and Dazz Newsome is going to be a really good player. He is going to be an absolute stud for him, and I expect, you know, I think he had an injury early in the season. I think it was a broken collarbone, but overall, I think you were really excited for a guy like Dazz Newsome. That's what we're talking about, and getting help for a guy like Justin Fields. We're talking about a guy that, you know, his junior year at North Carolina had over 1,000 yards receiving and 10 touchdowns. And, you know, his senior year, it was not exactly the same, but, you know, it had over 600 yards and 6 touchdowns. So we're seeing a guy here that, you know, that carries the football, can do a whole bunch of different things, whether it's punting or, you know, even on kickoff returns and punt returns. He averaged 11 yards a punt return while at North Carolina. That's absolutely respectable. So, like I said, I think this was a very good pickup, especially that late in the draft. Now, would you like to see him get on the field more? Not injuries, but yes, injuries happen. You can't really do a whole lot about it. But getting Dazz Newsome in the 6th round here was great. I had him as a 3rd round draft pick, so I thought this was very good value. Still in the 6th round, the Chicago Bears selected 7 picks later, Thomas Graham Jr., corner out of Oregon. Played in 4 games, had a start, 13 tackles, and 4 PDFs, or passes defensed, if you will. C+. You know, you're going to hear me say this a lot when I go through these drafts. Once you get past the 4th, that 4th to 7th round range, it's about getting those guys that fill out the rest of your roster. We're talking about special team guys. We're talking about practice squad guys. We're talking about guys that are going to be on your roster for a couple years. You see what you got in them, develop them for a little bit, and if you don't like it, you move on, and the process continues. But you obviously have a couple of first-round draft picks who you have inclinations on how they're going to perform. But after that, you really start to find a lot of these other players that do some good things, and the ones that fill out the rest of your roster. And I think, you know, Thomas Graham is definitely a guy like that. You know, going to be on special teams, going to get his opportunities moving forward, and get his chances to develop as his career goes on. In the 7th round, number 252 overall, the Chicago Bears selected Khyiris Tonga, defensive tackle, BYU. I loved Tonga coming out of the draft. Just this big boy that, like, good luck blocking him, because he's going to take up 2 blockers at a time. Going to get a little bit of pass rush in there as well. 15 games, 2 starts, 24 total tackles, a 52.1 PFF grade. Listen, C+ here. Again, these value guys, these guys that you get and hope that will make an impact in some way. Honestly, I would make this a B as well. I just felt like, you know, they've got, Akeem Hicks is a free agent this year. So, I mean, obviously Tonga can make more of an impact moving forward, but, you know, you love these 7th round guys that are they provide a lot of value. But overall, you know, I like them getting him here. If I'm being honest, I probably should make this a B, but especially because I had Tonga as more as a 5th round pick, maybe a 4th, but overall, I think we'll stick with the C+ here, but I do really like the pick. I think he's going to be a big part of their defense for a long, long time. But that's it. Let us know what you guys think about our grading of the Chicago Bears 2021 NFL draft picks. Make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. Please leave that like. It helps people find the show. Make sure you guys also send us, Start by liking us, all of our social media platforms down in the description below. We would greatly appreciate it. Also, give us a listen and sub on iTunes. And finally, if you have anything else you'd like us to cover, send us an email at thesportsbp@yahoo.com or put in the comment section down below, and we would love to cover it. But let us know what you guys think of our grading of the Chicago Bears 2021 NFL draft picks.